Hey, yo, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to another confusingly numbered episode of In Madness Pod. It's Shawn the Butcher here with Vertebrae 33. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Shawn? I got it for you. This is episode 18.43327
Cyberdyne Model 101.
and a half. It's 18.5. You know, it's funny. I made jokes about it, but I've had more than one person say they love the 0.5 episodes.
That's what's up, man.
So they love because they don't always see the movies that we talk about, but when they listen to the ones of the episodes of the movies they have seen, then they want to kind of stay tapped into that world a little bit. So here we are, unfiltered, uncensored, if we're ever uncensored, right? I don't know, censored at all, on an 18.5, talking about whatever it is we want to talk about. We could talk about my new comfy chair. We could talk about Halloween's coming up.
We
Super
could talk
excited.
about Comic-Con. We could talk about our last movie we did, Cabin in the Woods, the atrocity that we I thought was going to happen. I thought that episode went quite well. But I'd like to thank everybody who participated with our Cabin in the Woods episode on the socials at InMadnessPod, InMadnessPod@gmail.com. We are dipping into the mailbag this
Oh
episode.
my god, I'm so excited. We need like a mailbag like sound effect, like
Yeah. Like just shaking out of mail or something, or
no, like a
crinkling.
woo woo, like, or something like a whistle or a horn,
A
or I
mail
don't know.
whistle.
Or maybe the mailbag is like the sound effect is like the lighthouse, like the
The
kind
horn.
of,
Okay.
yeah. Then we dig into it. You know, we climb inside that Fresnel lens, and we pick out some mail.
That's so funny. So make sure you email us inmadnesspod@gmail.com. We are on all the socials, Threads, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have the In Madness playlist. Subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you like. Make sure you give 5 stars. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe. All that stuff helps. We love In Madness. Monday, best day of the week. We want to hear from you. Keep this dialogue going. This show is a lot of fun to do, just nerding out about all this cool stuff. And we have something cool planned for you coming up soon. But before that, let's get into some of our 0.5 stuff. Did you want to recap any cabin in the woods stuff, or do you have some other gnarly bits you want to drop on us?
Yeah, I don't have any gnarly bits about the cabin in the woods. I wanted to know, because we kind of recorded it and then we got off rather quickly at the end. Did it, after talking about it and diving into the movie further, did you enjoy it more? Did you enjoy it less?
No, definitely not less. I mean, there were good parts to it. I love when the dings and all the monsters come out. I did like the different, range of monsters they had. I just didn't, and I liked Hadley and I liked Sitterson. I just didn't want them to be in this movie. I
Okay.
just wasn't ready for it. I wasn't prepared for it. I kind of just wanted, like, I thought, I don't know. I thought it was just going to be like a generic kind of Evil Dead remake, but differently spun just enough to where Evil Dead wouldn't sue them for stealing the idea. But the fact that it was like a comedy or whatever, I don't know. I didn't expect it, so it took me out of it. I feel like had I known in the beginning, then I wouldn't have been as poopy about it as I am. But I don't know.
Mhm.
I just don't feel like I could watch Killer Clowns a million times and The Shining a million times and The Mist a million times. But when it comes to Cabin in the Woods, I'm like, I think I'm good for this. Like we deep
Right.
dived, we did a whole bunch for it, but like I'm like, I got so many other ones that I love so much more it's not gonna be one that I hold close. It will be because we did an episode about it. So I'll always be like, Cabin in the Woods, I remember that one. But
Mhm.
like as far as wearing a Cabin in the Woods shirt, it ain't happening.
Oh man, that's such a bummer. I actually I liked the movie when I saw it, and then researching it for this, and I liked it even more. And I want to know more about this world. Like, I want to know about this company. Does this company have a name to it? What do people think it functions as outside of there? Because it's pretty elaborate, right?
It's like a it's
Somebody
yeah, it's like a storefront because nobody can know what's actually happening in there.
Yeah, somebody had to build all of those cubes to keep all the creatures and horror characters in. The lobby before it's very bloody. It's beautiful looking. So um somebody had to pick the elevator sound. The pleasant little ding. So I'm just curious about it. I love it as a satire on not only society. And our need to view things like that, but how we view ourselves and how we view choice in our own lives. And there is just a huge Lovecraft undertone with these ancient ones, which I think is pretty fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I can't convince you to love it. I don't think they make Cabin in the Woods merch.
No, but I'm
So,
sure if they did, you'd probably rock some of it. Maybe you could get the license and you do a vertebrae cabin in the wood shirt.
maybe I could. Although I like this, a little more subtle. I don't know if I'd have just those giant Cabin in the Woods words on the shirt, but
Well, not just do the
um
cubes or some shit.
that the cubes and even that poster, that's a fantastic poster. That'd make a pretty cool shirt unto itself. But if we just put a bow on Cabin in the Woods, I am super curious to hear what people wrote to us, and a little nervous because we haven't heard it. You haven't read it.
I haven't read through, but before I get into it, I just have like one little nerdy bit before I
Okay.
want to go dipping
Sure.
and digging around in our mailbag up
Yeah.
in our mail sack. So you tag me in things on Twitter sometimes, and I just
Yeah.
respond to you
Sometimes.
with point five, as in write this down so we could talk about this on a point five.
Yeah, and truth be told, like I never do. I never write them down. Actually, you know what, Sean? I have to tell you this. Because I had told you before, I had something to tell you about how I prepare for the episodes. And I have abandoned writing in a notebook.
What do you like,
So
freestyle like Jay-Z?
so now instead of writing in a notebook, I am typing onto an iPad, a little
Like
keyboard
Somerset.
attached to it, and then I'm sort of doing my notes as a once over, and then going back in with the gnarly bits on that. Um, in a weird in a weird thing, I still have to write in that same notebook episode 18 Cabin in the Woods, but there's no notes after it. It's just like see digital notes because I just have to continue something in that way. And that may stop soon, but I just went that way because it was taking me so long to do it the way I was doing it, writing them and then retyping them again. Now I just on the iPad, I can look things up at the same time. I pause the movie, I research it. I can, I mean, listen, 2023, I can copy and paste the definition of something in there, having to write it out. I got a more comfortable chair. Let's go. I'm ready to
I
go.
I
Let's,
mean, 18.5 episodes in, but realistically, like something like 30 episodes in,
uh-huh.
my writing style has changed drastically. Like I said, for our Krampus and for our Gremlins episode, which we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary real soon, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, I was taking notes on my phone, and now I
Yeah.
can't even fathom doing that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but so I have a handful of things here, but I'm not going to bring them all up. I'm going to save some of them. A lot of them are really friggin' cool. One of the things I think you tagged me in was John Carpenter,
Mhm.
Suburban Screams,
Mhm.
coming out. I mean October 13th, which means when this drops, it's out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna dip into that. Definitely. This is a TV series.
Mhm.
It is 6 stories told by survivors of real horror. I think it looks friggin' awesome. I mean, John Carpenter is the man, and like
Mhm.
I think he directed like all 6 episodes or something.
Mhm.
Did you see the trailer for this?
I did. Yep.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I did. I think it's I'm excited well this had come out. So like if we play around with the future and the past and all these timelines, I've seen it already and it's pretty fantastic and
So
might
are
be
you
really
so I
good.
mean realistically, I mean, because I'm a really we'll break down the fourth wall. Will Marty finding the camera right now? We haven't had a chance to watch it when we're recording this. However, when it does drop, are you watching it all in one shot? Or are you gonna like how you gonna do it?
I wonder, I live in a world that's very much like I enjoy my horror to not be so rooted in reality all the time because of the way I ingest things. So I'm curious to see how I will take this because um if it's real things that happen to real people, it's different than if it's cubes and there's monsters in it and moving around. Um
Correct.
but it's John Carpenter. So my love of John Carpenter may trump that and I may have to just take it all in. Um yeah, I'm super curious. I'm excited to see it, excited to see him back directing. I know that they've alluded to some things with the Thing franchise and him being involved with that. So I know things were put on hold with a writer strike and everything else, and now that has come to an end, hopefully he can get moving on that. And his music will be in it as well, I believe. So that'll
I'm
be
sure, man.
yeah,
Why wouldn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah. So
But I
pretty
thought that
cool.
looked really cool. And maybe this episode dropped and you haven't even heard about this thing.
Hmm.
It's on Peacock if you got Peacock. If not, I'm sure there's like a free trial. You could scam an email or just make something up and then get it for a week and do hopefully what Vertebrae is gonna do and binge the hell out of it. I'm gonna do the same. I cannot wait. I love Carpenter. I mean, I don't know what we gotta do to get him on this podcast.
Well, I mean, James Cameron's already not returning our emails, or
Which
maybe he's
yeah.
in the mailbag. Maybe it's James Cameron in the mailbag.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna get
I
the
will
mailbag.
say that the one thing I wanted to tell you, and it just ties into what you're talking about, the Carpenter stuff is, and I had sent you this as well, and Printed in Blood, who's done a lot of these art books, and I've been in a few of them for Hannibal and for Halloween, and they did a Bernie Wrightson tribute book. I had artwork in that as well. They're doing a reprint of the original Halloween's novelization, and the novelization of Halloween and any of the Halloween movies goes into a lot of stuff that's not in the film. And I know obviously they're going to go into things in a book that aren't in the movie, but there's a lot of cool, gnarly bits for fans of the Halloween franchise. So they're doing a reprint of this hardcover. They're having this phenomenal artist, Mexafunk, do all the artwork on the inside. There's a version of it that has the original novelization cover, and there's a version of it that has a cover he did. I've ordered the original novelization cover, but I'll get all his artwork inside as well. It's 224 pages, um, and it should be pretty amazing. My love of movie novelizations. I think it's something. There's a ton of these for Alien and Aliens and all these other movies. I think, and some are hard to get your hands on. I struggled to get a copy of The Thing a while back, in good shape. I think this is something that somebody, and if it's printed in blood, I hope so because they take great care of what they do. But um, that could do on a regular basis. Like these could be Kickstarters or something, but some of these get pretty insane. And they're still currently doing them for a lot of films. So um, it's really interesting. But
Didn't
anyway,
you send me an article that they're doing one for Godzilla?
there should be there is a novelization for Godzilla as well. Yep. Yeah.
God damn, that's funny. Well, the thing you just mentioned, the Halloween thing, was also on my point five. I think that's one of the things you tagged me in that I said a point five. So you hit it. You hit it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that one I remembered because I was yeah, I was super excited about that.
Also, we're getting into Halloween season. It's really close now. I like that I'm rocking the gear,
Mhm.
and you're talking about the novelization, and we're talking about John Carpenter. It's that time of season, so
Mhm.
it's good time, good time. So shall we reach into the sack, the mailbag?
I don't know if I wanna call it a sack.
Yeah, the sacks, the
Can we call it
Santa's
something
sack,
else? Can we
the
call
mail
it
sack. We need an evil name for it. It needs a fitting. If you have a good idea for our mail sack name, let us know on the socials at In Madness Pod, or put your mail into our mail sack,
It
inmadnesspod at
just
gmail.com.
I think it just be a mailbag. I think it just be a mailbag. I don't
We
know. I don't know.
let's
We have to
let's
go.
dip in. Let's dip in. Oh man,
Have you
this
and Sean, full disclosure, you've not read these?
no, I'm just opening them right now blindly. Let's do this. This is fun. Let's see if we get ripped apart. We got
Okay.
Tom Henderson. Shout outs to Tom Henderson. Maybe he titles his email, Hey yo,
Wait a
Tom.
minute. Wait. Are we allowed to say the people's names?
I mean, whatever. It's fine.
Okay.
Whatever. So I'll,
Okay.
I'll say
Yeah.
people's first names from now on.
Yeah. I don't know, but
I
it's
mean,
just
whatever. No, it's fine. What are they running from the cops? Like, if Tom Henderson, calm down with your meth operation. If whatever. He says, first time, long time. Just writing with a few things about your awesome podcast. I already like where this is going.
Thank you, Tom.
He loves the point five episodes. Would you look at
Hey.
that? So much good stuff. He says, I'm right about the Godzilla channel. It is bliss. He is a bibliophile and loves collecting books, much like
Oh, just like
vertebrae.
me. Yeah.
He has so many that he has not yet read, but he plans to, he says in quotes. Second, thanks for shouting out the band Ringworm. He was unfamiliar with them. Now he can't stop listening to them. And also God's Hate. Ringworm, I shouted out in our Witch episode for Hammer of the Witch, which was the book you were talking about. I put that on the In Madness playlist.
Right.
Make sure you check out the In
Look at
Madness
that.
playlist. And it linked him to God's Hate, who I love. God's Hate. Shout outs to my buddy Colin Young, Brody King, all the Taylor Young. Shout outs to all of God's Hate. One of my favorite bands of the last couple of years. And he says, finally, I had a question for Vertebrae 33 about Montague Summers.
Oh boy.
He says it sounds really interesting, but before he starts hunting for it, he was wondering what's the readability of the book? Is it long, lengthy, boring? Is it enough to read, or will it frustrate the hell out of me? He
Yes,
said,
yes, and yes.
perfect.
Yeah, Montague Summers is not light reading. It's not overly flowery language. It's not overly stimulating. It's just, yeah, it's a little bit of a struggle. It's not a late night read. I look at it as research for the podcast and other things that we might be doing, but I it's not a reread. I wouldn't pick it up again, you know. But yeah, I love. Thank you, Top. I think that's amazing. That's quite an email.
He goes,
Thank you.
anyways, keep up the great work. Looking forward to potentially sporting some In Madness merch soon.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
goes, every single shirt I own is black. Any chance you guys could do a color tee?
Huh.
Mm.
Huh.
So my buddy, shout outs to my buddy Kurt in the band Kaiju Daisenzu. They have it's one of my favorite shirts. It's like Barney purple.
Hmm.
And I think we should do a Barney purple in Madden shirt. I think that would look really cool. And I
I
think
mean, that'd be good. That'll be good for you and Tom
Tom
only.
Henderson, yeah, or whatever color works. But yeah, something besides black. We'll figure
That's
something out.
awesome. That's really great.
Thank you, Tom Henderson. So we're one email in. I'm already loving this bit, and we need to do more of these on point five. This is great. So let's go blindly to another. Make sure you email us inmadnesspod at gmail.com. And yeah, we're just gonna start going through these. I'm gonna try and be more pay more attention to the email since there's already a million things to pay attention to. So let's do
You know what's crazy is I don't even know let's just pull the curtain back already. I
yeah.
don't even know the email password. Do
I
you have
think I
the
sent it to you. We have
I
a
think you
million
sent
bad
it to me and I forgot it, and I was just like, "Ah, Sean's screening it," and I was like, "I guess nobody I don't know how many people are
I was
sending
very
emails, I'm not
surprised when
sure."
I logged in and I saw so many emails. I was like, "Oh wow, it's catching on." So that's great.
Okay.
Jason Blankenship. Oh man, Jason Blankenship wrote a lot here. Shawn and Vertebrae. I'm excited to hear your coverage of Terminator 2.
Mm,
My brother had the Guns N' Roses cassette single "You Could Be Mine" with Civil War B-side. I was only
nice.
11 when that movie came out, so it didn't get to see it until a year later when it was on HBO or Cinemax. It came one night. It came on at least once per day for a month straight, and I am pretty sure I watched it every time it was on. I know Vertebrae does his homework and Gnarly Bits. I want to say at one point I had a special edition DVD with a bunch of extras and extended scenes. There's a scene where Arnold has to power down to be repaired. This takes place in a gas station. The extended version shows Linda Hamilton pulling out the CPU from Arnold's head. She thinks about destroying it. You mentioned this in the T2
Yep.
episode.
Yeah, yeah.
He said John has to plead with her. Is during the same scene that he found out Linda Hamilton has a real life twin sister.
Oh, I don't remember that pa Oh, that's a good one.
So
Huh.
when you see Arnold getting operated on in a mirror, what you see is Arnold and Linda's sister in the mirror. The back of Arnold's head is a prosthetic. You also see Linda from behind some more practical effects.
Hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you both for the podcast. I dig the point fives.
Oh.
Where you talk about whatever. I think that when the podcast gets ultra big, you should get James Cameron on the phone and ask him all your Terminator timeline questions. Also, ask why he hasn't made a proper True Lies Blu-ray. Thanks for reading this. Shout out to Jason Blankenship. Yeah.
That was awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you
Yeah.
for contributing to our In Madness mail sack, our mailbag, our mailbag. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We got who do we got here? Walking Dead. Oh, I got a picture of a toy. Hold on, there's an email here. Love the show. Listen to you guys on Spotify. Shout out in Madness Pod. Kevin Olson. Oh, what up, Kevin Olson? He says Shawn knows who I am. Yeah, I talked to Kevin Olson on Facebook. Shout out to Kevin Olson. Thank you for listening to
Mm,
In Madness Pod. If you want to get shouted out, write us something about any of our episodes, any of our past episodes that we've done. If you listen back, you know, just because we did an episode a year ago doesn't mean we still can't talk about it. If you want to chat about it, our email inmadnesspod@gmail.com. Let's keep going. We got we got Jason Blankenship again. Okay. Hey, yo, I have some theories about questions posed in T2 part 1.
oh, here we go.
Oh, why did the T-1000 come through the portal time gate naked? A better question is, how did it come through at all? There's no living tissue around that liquid metal. Nothing dead can come through. But to better hypothesize, perhaps it's due to the T-1000 being created by machines. These same machines kill humans on sight. They probably wouldn't be in the habit of taking prisoners or having pets. No one to touch, no one to replicate prior to entry, plus coming through naked stays consistent with the prior movies, with Arnold coming through in the beginning of the movie as well.
Mhm.
And then he's got another one here. Why didn't the T-1000 just make longer blades when it was stabbing through the elevator? Your
Yeah.
question. It is explained that T-1000 can only take on forms of similar size objects. If it were to create a super big blade, then it would have to pour itself into that object and it would no longer be perched on top of the damn elevator. To this, I will add, why not stab into the elevator as a blade, then form that blade, make a bunch of porcupine-like metal quills that fill the entire elevator interior? That's what I was saying. Or like
Yes.
make like a lawnmower blade, you know, that
Yeah,
chop
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
He says he digs the podcast. Keep it up. Can't wait for part 2, which is already out. Make sure you check out our Terminator episodes if you haven't. Our first sequel episode on In Madness Pod. It sounds like Vertebrae watched the same special edition I watched with all the added scenes. John Connor's adopted dad is Virginia Madsen's cheating ass sleeping with his student husband in the original Candyman.
Mm,
I gotta check that out again.
mm.
Thank you again, Jason Blankenship. Oh man,
That's
okay.
awesome.
We got more. We got more.
Thank you.
Guillermo Maldonado. Okay, these are all good so far. This podcast is absolute fire. I've been listening since the beginning and I love every episode. Man, bwah, 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 bwah.
Wow.
That is so
Yeah.
sick. Thank you, Guillermo. So for the Spotify playlist, I think you should add some songs from Austrian Death Machine, of course, because that is the band that does the Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonations. There's
Huh.
so many good songs from this band about this iconic movie. Keep up the fun and entertaining work. Thank you,
Thank you.
Guillermo.
Thank you. That's
Very
awesome. Thank you.
cool. Okay, listen. If we're
And
reading the
he shares the same name with one of my favorite directors,
Del Toro,
Del Toro. Yeah,
you'll
appreciate it.
if you're digging this, listen. You know when you get a cool album and you're like, man, my friend's got to check this out. And you give them that album so you guys can nerd out about that album. I think you should do the same thing with this podcast. Tell your friends, make sure you let them know that us two jackasses are here talking about movies and
Yeah.
nerding out about toys,
Yeah.
and we're just grown ass children. We got a couple more. We got
Okay.
Idrin. Idrin. I think Idrin contributed on our missed
Yes. Yep.
episode.
Absolutely.
Hey yo, Idrin. Glad you're doing okay, Shawn, after your Sanguisugabog show incident.
It's now famous. It's now famous.
T2 is such a classic start to finish. My fiance and I watch 1 and 2 back to back as a refresher, thanks to the podcast.
Awesome.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I like to hear. When
That's
the
great.
T1000 warps back through time, it was hard to reboot. Its default appearances, naked Robert Patrick. So that's all it can do initially, like a turtle with its shell. When it gets severely mangled, it's like a turtle losing its shell. That's the Chrome Dome version. So it has to push the reset button, but it keeps the files it gained since the time jump. So back to Officer Robert Patrick. Also, the time jumping. Reese chilled with John during the war. Reese went back to 1984. Okay. Became John's father. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And died. So then Reese isn't going to be there to fight in the war alongside John. So future John knows Reese, but then after Reese dies in the past, John's memory of Reese must vanish, but he puts a question mark.
Mm-hmm.
Predestination paradox, he puts.
Right.
This is off the charts, Idrin. Thank you.
Yeah.
After they destroy the first Terminator, arm, and chip, there must be a new timeline universe created. But as soon as the arm and chip are destroyed, wouldn't good Terminator vanish? Back to the Future style, with things changing and vanishing as events in the past happen. Anyway, yes, it really does mess with your head. These semi versus dirt bike motorcycle chase scenes take place in the LA River. That's what it's called. LA calls a river, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Vertebrae, for pointing out the literal Guns and Roses. That was a longer email than I had planned, but I dig the podcast. Hail in Madness Pod.
That's awesome.
That's
Thank
going
you
on
very
a
much.
t-shirt.
I love
Thank
it.
you,
I love
Idrin.
it.
I think we got 3 more. There's 3 more here.
Okay.
We got Guillermo again. Guillermo keeps it short and sweet. Hey guys, awesome work. Just finished listening to the second half of the T2 episode, and I have a theory to Vertebrae's 33's question about why T1000 couldn't use Sarah Connor's voice in the steel factory after he stabbed her in the shoulder.
Uh-huh.
I think it's because he was still glitching after he pulled himself back together after he was frozen. Keep up the good work, guys. Guillermo from Ohio, representing in Ohio.
Oh, wait,
Very
let's pause.
cool.
Yeah, you know what's funny is he was glitching, and there were those cut scenes where it was glitching out, and he was melting into the floor and taking on those forms of diamond plating and everything else. So maybe that's the case. He's weakened. Yep.
I love the mailbag bit so much. This is so cool. Thank you for listening. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for taking time out of your day to just do what we're doing. This is what it's about right now. This is what I love. We got two more from the same guy.
Okay.
Nicholas Frank. There's a little bit of a long one. What's up in Madness Pod? Just want to drop in and say you guys have quickly become my favorite podcast.
What? Wow. Awesome.
Unseating. He says over another podcast, but I won't say it because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But that's
Okay.
very
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
I've been listening to Butch's tomfoolery for years on Into the Trivia Pit. Thank you very much with Jose. Shout outs to Jose. Still crack up over Caca Pistola. Caca Pistola. I've been in the radio business for 16 years, and one of my greatest creations is a gun that used to shoot jizz, but now shoots shit in order to be more radio friendly. We could get into that later. The Kaka gun. Everyone loves the Kaka gun, and his magic has followed throughout this pod. Thank you very much, Nicholas. I greatly appreciate it. Your weekly hints that you guys give about the movies are just about as easy as the clues Butcher and Jose give on Into the Trivia Pit. Thank you. Crystal clear, only to us. You guys feed so well off each other with vertebrae's deep dives and gnarly bits and Shawn facts. Shawn facts.
Shawn facts.
My most recent favorite being Spudnik from Salute Your Shorts, because of course his name was actually Budnik. Shawn facts. Shawn facts. Unbelievable. I'm hoping with Halloween around the corner, we can get some good horror flicks. Killer Clowns would be my vote. So again, this is from the past. We already did Killer Clowns. So cool. I hope you enjoy that episode. Thank you very much. Or go slasher style with Devil's Rejects. Now I know Vertebrae's thoughts on a particular Rob Zombie fellow. I wouldn't pick Devil's Rejects. I would really love to grill your ass on House of a Thousand Corpses. Yes, we all know it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre with neon green with neon lights. However, another one that I will watch every single year. I'm not gonna rock every single Rob Zombie movie ever, but House of a Thousand Corpses, I feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is such a bitter pill to swallow. Like it is such a difficult watch and it is so hard to stomach.
Yes.
I feel like House of a Thousand Corpses takes that and like puts like mint chocolate chips on it and like whipped cream and like peanut butter sauce and some crushed Oreos, and it just makes it way more fun and way. I'm not saying it's a better movie. I'm just saying I can watch House of a Thousand Corpses more then. But I'm just saying, whatever. I'm getting off the topic of the email. He said, watch Devil's Rejects. I'll leave the choices up to you guys. Thank you. You haven't missed yet. He says, even the Lucy episode was great.
Hey, there you go.
Thank you, Nicholas. One question. Is the intro music you use available somewhere? I'd love to have it as a ringtone or alarm to wake up to in the morning. Anyway, just wanted to show some love and tell you keep up the good work. Nick from Michigan. We got Michigan in the house. The intro music was created by mostly my man Lepardo, Anthony Lepardo. He works at Westfall Studios out here in Long Island. I believe it's in Farmingdale, but whatever. It's in Nassau County. Westfall Studios. The homies Johnny Booth record there. We got Johnny Booth on the In Madness playlist. The homies in Moontooth record there. We were talking about Moontooth. I know Vertebrae, you design shirts for them, as well as our buddy Mike from Panic Room Toys. He's a Moontooth fan. Big shout outs to Anthony Lepardo. We sat in his studio. I sent him, I'm like, man, we need an intro. And I love the Shudder intro. The bump, 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 bump. Easy, quick, super, it sticks in your head. So I went to this dude's studio. I thought we were going to be there for hours. He pulls out this little keyboard. He downloads this little plugin. He starts playing things. And what we made in like 33 minutes was the intro that you hear every time for every opening of In Madness Pod. It is not available anywhere, but like, yeah, like where do I put it? Where like people can download it? That shouldn't be hard. Maybe like a Dropbox file, and we just put it in like the description of the episode. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, we can figure. We can figure it out. We can. I love that it took 33 minutes to record.
Something like that. It was a number.
I that number.
Yeah, let's go with
that number. Just popped into your head.
But it was brilliant. I mean, Lepardo, he's a genius. He sat there and like
awesome.
knew exactly what I wanted, and I immediately texted you, and I'm like, "How good does this sound?"
Yeah, it was perfect out from the gate.
Shout out to Lepardo. Shout out to Westfall Studios. And shout out Lost Becomes. The homies in Lost Becomes also record there. Chef Brian, the homie Capozzi, One last email. One last email to wrap up
Okay.
episode 18.5 in Madness Pod. It's again Nicholas Frank. Oh, here we go. Oh man, this is really long, dude. It's all about killer clowns from outer space. You know what? I
Oh,
think I'm gonna save this.
oh,
I think I should save this one for our next point five.
okay. You want to
Because there's
save
a
it?
yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. You know what? Screw it. Let's just run through it really quick. This is
Okay.
it. He says, "What's up, Imp? IMP in Madness Pod. I love it, Imp."
Mm.
Uh, really digging the deep dive into killer clowns from outer space, vertebrae's pain and struggle to get through such an iconic movie. A plus effort trying to find some deeper meaning or thought behind one of my all-time childhood funhouse of fear favorites. I wanted to weigh in on a few thoughts I had while listening to the latest episode, reminiscing about the classic horror flick. The two scenes in the movie where we see the cotton candy cocoons are supposedly separated by a few hours, maybe. Yet from the first time we see the storage area in the beginning of the movie to the second time, are we supposed to believe that the clowns were able to collect basically the whole town and take them back to their ship one by one, walking so slow? And then he attaches a picture of the empty thing, and then the next
Mm.
scene a short while later, basically all full. It's so funny.
Hmm.
Several rows deep. How did they get them up so high? Do they have a circus forklift? Maybe shoot them up there with a cannon.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that'd be fun. Like the little shoo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, I'm
Circus
I'm
cannon.
I'm gonna quickly answer that and say there's probably more clowns that we don't see that are in there hauling a lot of ass, making that work get done quickly. That's just me. It would have been awesome this of the ship would have been awesome of the ship was full of various sized cocoons from other planets that they conquered, similar to the skull trophy case at the end of Predator 2 that had various alien skulls that had been collected from other planets. Maybe not a bad idea. I like that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
I would love to see an origin story where clowns throughout history can be traced back to ancient Egypt or something, where visitors from outer space have been coming to Earth every so often to harvest people. The twist is they looked like clowns, the killer clowns, and that was the inspiration behind people dressing up as clowns originally as homage or some kind of religious garb to the aliens gods of their time.
Mm.
We've seen evidence of hieroglyphics in ancient cultures that showed alien like images coming from the sky. It would be cool to weave that into the origin of when they first came to Earth and how they influenced clowns as we know them, and the clown like behavior that the killer clowns somehow already knew about: pies to the face, comedically oversized hammers, clown cars, etc. There's one more. Another suggestion for a super campy but amazingly so bad good movie to make vertebrae squirm is Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
Mm.
Uh, so many amazing one-liners from Sly in this movie. First off, he puts Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone, not the crap remake. I will debate that, and I will say that even the latest Judge Dredd movie,
Dread. Yep.
I really liked that movie.
Hmm.
But again, I love Lucy. So
Yeah, it's very well done. I believe I think Alex Garland, whose movies I love, and we'll do a movie from Alex Garland in the future. And he worked on Devs, the TV show. Um, I believe he was one of the writers. I could get this totally wrong because it's off the top of my head, but I think he was one of the writers on Dread. And if I'm wrong, everyone can yell at us and send us an email. I like Dread. I like Judge Dredd comic a lot. If you're interested in Judge Dredd and the comic, there's also a really cool documentary called 2000 AD, which is about the history of those British comics where that came from, and that's a really great documentary. It's available on a bunch of different platforms. I think it's on Amazon, and a few others, but that's really cool, kind of the history of those sort of punk rock comics in a lot of ways at that time. So that's a pretty cool deep dive for you if you're into Dread as well. I know I've seen the Stallone Judge Dredd. I
it's
know when I
good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think I did enjoy it because I like the comic, and it was so far. Sometimes when you get deep into the source material, it makes it harder for you to step back and just kind of enjoy it for what it is. Whereas with, say, we talked about it with Batman, there's lots of different versions of that you can easily enjoy. But yeah, I maybe you got to give it a rewatch and see. It's been a long time.
Nicholas says, can't wait for the next In Madness Monday.
Nice.
And with that, I say we successfully wrap up episode 18.5 in our stupid, ridiculous number system of In Madness Pod. Make sure you follow us on the socials at In Madness Pod, all the socials, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook. Make sure you follow on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you give us 5 stars. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend. The In Madness playlist, the coolest playlist of all time. We are adding songs every single episode, stuff relevant to this podcast, to this world. I've had a great time doing Cabin in the Woods, even though I didn't love the movie. This 0.5 was amazing. This new mail bit that we just pulled out of our ass right now.
Yeah.
This needs to continue. So
That was awesome. I appreciate anyone taking time to actually sit down and type something up and send it to us, listening, caring enough to ask, questions. You thought about what we said, you thought more about these movies. I mean, that's what it's about, right? We're putting these movies that we love or that we're really into on a pedestal, and we're worshiping them, and we're bringing light to that art, and we're trying to have intelligent and goofy and fun and silly discussions all at the same time about it. And I think it's awesome that other people are willing to take that ride with us. I'm blown away. That we got these emails, and I'll just say, if you send an email, we're going to read it. And I think it's incredible. So thank you so much for that. It's awesome.
Hell yeah. So the plan is we're going to tease a movie, because the plan is to do something special for our next episode before we get into our next movie. It won't necessarily be a 0.5. We'll figure out what stupid ass number to give it. Maybe it'll be like 18.5A.
Let's break these into thirds and just confuse everyone.
18.75, because we're getting closer to 19. But the plan is to have something special. We'll see how it works out. It will be hopefully from the event that we were taking part in very recently. So we'll get into that very soon. We'll drop more hints for you later. I'm not going to drop too many hints just in case it didn't go the way we planned it. So we'll see what happens. And if we don't have that, I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to figure something out, because we gotta hit.
There will be an episode. We will drop an episode no matter what. Don't worry about it. There'll be something for you to listen to.
If there's enough mail in the mailbag, maybe we'll do another mail sack episode.
Yes.
We got to figure out a name for this. Send us potential names at inmadnesspod@gmail.com. I'm good. Do you have all your bits in? Are you good?
I'm good. That's awesome. It's amazing. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it.